been a long time coming. What are you thinking about right now?
It was speed. Tarasenko drops it. Bouwmeester.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my first interview. I'm a rookie at this, but I'm with a longtime veteran, good buddy of mine, Jay Bouwmeester. I'll do a little introduction for Jay just so everyone gets to know who he is. Jay's a 36-year-old, 6'4", lengthy defenseman from Edmonton, Alberta. Third overall pick to the Florida Panthers in 2002. Jay played for 3 World Juniors, 2001 and 2002. 7 World Championships. Is that right, Jay?
I don't know.
I
hope it wasn't that many.
I also have an Olympic team gold medalist, World Cup gold medalist. Played for 3 NHL teams in Florida, Calgary, and St. Louis. I got to play with Jay in Florida. Great teammate, good buddy. 2-time NHL All-Star game, 1 American League All-Star game, and a total of 1,239 NHL games played. And his biggest accomplishment, I would say, in the last little bit, Stanley Cup winner with the St. Louis Blues. So, Jay, welcome to our little interview and to all our friends out here in Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know you guys have been going through some tough times with stuff out there lately, but I hope everybody's doing good and staying safe.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That was actually about 40 minutes from where I live, Jay. So we're all kind of I got my Nova Scotia flag hanging out in the house, and we're all being Nova Scotia strong and sticking together as much as we can. Listen, I made that introduction to you. I left out one thing. I said we actually played against each other in the Calder Cup finals in 04-05 during the lockout year. Who won that series, Jay?
That was the bad guys. The bad guys won in Philly.
Yeah, I was with the Phantoms, and Jay was with the Chicago Wolves. And I had to throw that in, Jay. You know me, I'm always a bit of a chirper. But anyway, I'm great to catch up with you, man. And like I said, your career is amazing. Obviously, I know you had some tough times here about a couple months ago. How you feeling now?
Feel good. I dodged a bullet. It was kind of something that happened totally out of the blue. You never expect anything, or it's the last thing that goes through your mind when you're playing a hockey game or getting ready to play. But I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time, and with a lot of great trainers and sport people and all that around to really save my life. But as things are going on, it's kind of getting back to normal, and feeling good.
That's great to hear. I mean, we talk about first responders now. So, I mean, you were a firsthand of first responders. It was in Anaheim, I do believe, where it happened, right? So, I mean, your reflection on first responders, I mean, you must have a lot of respect for them now, especially from what happened to you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you do. You gain a greater appreciation for what those people do on a daily basis. I mean, when it happens or you witness or you go through something like that, you just think it's the most amazing thing that they're able to help out. And I know I have friends that are firefighters and other things, and that's just what they do on a daily basis. So it's pretty amazing work. It's something that everyone should be thankful for, that we have those people at our disposal.
Jay, I think I'm right on when I say this. I'm pretty sure you wanted to be a firefighter. If you weren't going to be a hockey player, you would have been a firefighter. I think you might have said something on those lines when we were teeing it up down in Florida at one of the golf courses we used to play.
I always thought it'd be a pretty good job. Those guys, they work hard, but they seem to have good vacation time. And now I have a good friend and my brother-in-law, they're firefighters now. And now knowing more about it, it's kind of similar to being on a hockey team. It's they rely a lot on each other and teamwork and trust that they have to have with the guys that they work with. So probably
that's That's awesome. I mean, you talk about, you know, the life of, I know me with being out of the hockey, there's so much resemblance to the game. It's so true. Listen, I want to talk to you a little bit about your experience playing for Team Canada's. I mean, you played, like I said, 3 World Juniors, World Championships teams, Olympic teams, the World Cup. I mean, what's it like playing for your country?
It's pretty awesome. I think, you know, especially with Canada, like hockey just, you know, it's synonymous with Canada, and from a young age, it's kind of ingrained in you as a hockey player that you have things like those World Juniors, and now I guess the Olympics had gotten some more exposure with NHL players and that sort of thing. It's always from a young age, it's kind of a goal to maybe play on a junior team or as things move along, but. So I was lucky when the first World Juniors I played I was 16, and that was, you know, I didn't expect to make the team or anything, and it happened, but I got to play. It was a great experience. And
what was your coolest?
Helps you moving forward.
What about your coolest? I mean, you look at all this list of all these Team Canadas that you played for. What was your coolest city you got to go see?
I don't know the coolest. You get to see a lot of places. I mean, different places stick out. One was Russia. You know, I'd never been to Russia before. It was kind of a culture shock, and surprisingly nice place we went was Riga, Latvia. We were there before one of the World Championships one year. Had some fun, and it was you know, no one really knew where we were going to begin with, but it was a neat spot. And, yeah, it's a way to see the world, so it's great to get those opportunities.
Yeah, and to play for Team Canada, that's great. Now, I don't know, a lot of people maybe from out in the Maritimes here might not get to see you play a lot because you played in Florida through some rough times, and then out west in Calgary, and now playing in St. Louis. But I'll just kind of sum you, like, you're a big defenseman, great skater, great penalty killer. You move the puck really well. No shame, like, for all the kids out here watching, goal scoring wasn't your thing. You didn't score a lot of goals. I know you have 88 goals in your career. I mean, that's fabulous. But maybe talk a little bit about the importance of playing defense and being on the right side of the puck, killing penalties. How important that is to obviously championship teams.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of something to figure out, I guess, as your career goes along. I think when you're young and you want to have some team success, but you also want to have some success individually. And that's, you know, everyone feels good when they're scoring goals and getting the sort of the credit on that side of things. And what I realized, I think, throughout my career and as I moved on, especially in St. Louis, when we had some strong teams, and you really realize that everybody has a role, and everyone, you know, you have the guy that's scoring 40 goals, and but it's just as important that you have guys that can kill penalties and play some minutes that are solid, and where hopefully bad things aren't going to happen out on the ice. So yeah, I'd say for me, just being able to play good defense and be able to kill penalties and have a role just probably extended my career. And that's most guys. If you look at guys that have a longer career, usually at some point they have to kind of change. And I'd say when I was younger, it's probably more offensive and that sort of thing. But you play long enough and the game kind of changes. And, you know, now it's suited to young, fast guys that were in diapers when I was first started. So, you know, you leave kind of that offense, the exciting stuff, I guess, to them. And if you can just be a calming influence and a steady player, then you can still kind of carve out a role.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, you started, I mean, back in 2000 and then you played, I mean, this is almost 20 years now, and you've seen the game elevate from, you know, clutching and grabbing probably as you was a young kid, and then it moved into, you know, moving the puck, and now the skill is through the roof. I mean, you as a defenseman, maybe tell our young listeners out there who you would say is probably the hardest player to play against right now as a skilled player. Well,
right now it's the speed sort of seems to kill you. you know, the guys like Nathan McKinnon and everyone out there probably loves him. But I mean, he's a nightmare to play against just because of how fast he can get on you. And McDavid is the same. There's only a handful of guys that everyone can skate, but those guys are just on another level. But when you look at it, so when I started in the league, I remember one of my first exhibition games, we played the Rangers and Eric Lindros was there. And I was literally scared to death of him coming down on me because I just thought, this guy's so big, he can just go right through me if he wants to. There's nothing I can do. And now it's more like, if this guy wants to turn the jets on, he's going to go right by me because there's not much I can do. And that's kind of how the game's changed. And yeah, I think it's a good thing because it's pretty exciting the way it is now.
Yeah, it definitely is exciting. It's definitely a fun game to watch for sure. Now, also, I just one last thing on defense. I know as a coach now, where I'm coaching kids, I preach on a good stick. You 6'4", I mean, you get away with such a great stick. I mean, how important is a good stick? And in the NHL, do you guys still talk about a good stick?
Yeah, that's one thing I think that's once, I don't know what point, but it seems like every time they crack down on the rules, you know, that becomes a big emphasis, is just having a good stick and not just staying in good positions. And you know, just everyone, to score goals, you have to come to the middle of the ice. So if you can keep guys on the outside and you know, the puck usually starts on the ice, so you keep your stick on the ice, you keep it on the puck, and it's amazing what you can kind of deter guys from doing, from just being in the right positions. Yeah, it used to be just about kind of hooking and, you know, being physically not letting guys get to those areas. But now you can kind of just use your stick and your skating and other skills that, from a defensive standpoint, I think that's really allowed some of the smaller guys to really dominate now because they can play that way. And you know, teams used to look for big, strong, heavy guys to play that physical game, but now I think they've realized that if you can skate and you can be smart and use your stick, and you don't have to be running people over to accomplish the same thing. So
yeah, for sure. Angles and good stick.
Everybody.
Game for everybody. Stick, angling, all that great stuff. You got a chance to play in Calgary. I know you're from Edmonton, Alberta. How much fun was that, playing out near your home and probably had lots of family around? And I know it probably wasn't it was the team you probably hated the most growing up as a kid, but how cool was it playing out in Calgary, in a Canadian city?
It was nice. It was, for me, and anybody. I mean, you know, like, if you go play junior hockey, you leave home at a pretty young age. And so I played junior in Medicine Hat in the Western League, and then went straight to Florida, and I was there for, I think, 7 years. So when I got to go back to Calgary, you get to go back home. It's the closest you've been to your family in like 10 years. And, you know, and you're still only 27, 28. So I enjoyed it from that perspective. Our teams there had higher expectations. We'd kind of underachieved a little bit. So that was tough, the hockey side of things, but I wouldn't trade it. I mean, as it stands now, we're going to go back to the Calgary area. We live about an hour away from Calgary in the summer now, and that's where we're going to go back to when we're done here in St. Louis. So from that perspective, I mean, it's you make a lot of friendships and relationships that you're going to have, you know, moving forward, and that's really the things that you take from hockey.
Well, you just talked about underachieving, and I think last year we'll talk about your great run last year, and I remember I ran into you when I was in New York in January, and you were riding the bike, getting ready to play like the old veteran you are, and I remember saying, "Hey Jay," and we caught up, and it was like, gee, I don't know if I'm going to be traded or what's going to happen, and then 4 or 5 months later, you're there hosting the Stanley Cup, and I know I was very proud of you. It was awesome to see. You know, maybe tell us a little bit about that run and going from worst to the best in literally 5 months.
Yeah, it was a crazy year. You know, people made a lot about the story where we were in last place in January and then went on to win. And it is a good story, but it really should speak for how poorly we played at the start of the year, because I always tell people we kind of finished where we probably should have. One of the top 3 teams in our division. But the start of the year was we were just inconsistent. We had some new guys, and sometimes it takes a while for guys just to feel comfortable and find their place. And that's what it was. And then once everybody sort of accepted what they were to our team, we just started playing good, and everyone felt good about themselves. And we got a hot goalie, that always helps. And yeah, once you get into the playoffs, now it's so true now. Like, you just got to get into the playoffs, and then it's anybody's game. So we were playing good going in. Our goalie played great throughout, and yeah, we had some adversity. I mean, we played 2-6 and 2-7 game series, so it wasn't like we were rolling through everybody. But yeah, when we needed to, we were able to win those games. And that's, I mean, in Dallas there, when you guys went through it, and other times when whether it be a Calder Cup or anything, like you have moments in series and games where you just kind of know where it might be tight, but there's no panic or anything, because you know that your team, you're going to pull it out. You just have confidence.
Yeah, I look back at your series against Dallas. I mean, that was a fantastic series, and the local boy and Pat Maroon, scores the overtime winner to set you guys free. And you're right, it was a great series to watch. It was a fantastic run. I know there was lots of alumni around, and there's a lot of alumni in St. Louis too, right? They do a great job.
Yeah, they do. That's one thing here I realized right from the day I got here. Like, a lot of guys who have played here end up living here, and through that, they've developed a really good minor hockey program. And you look back at with the Kachuk boys and Al McInnes and different guys now, they have kids that are playing professionally and in the NHL, and so they've really helped the minor hockey program here. And it's just a nice place to live. It's one of those places where when you come on the road to play, it doesn't look that great, because downtown there's not a whole lot. And but it's a Midwestern kind of, everyone's friendly, sort of just a welcoming place. So it's a good place to raise kids and have a family, and that's why guys stay.
Oh, that's awesome, Jay. Listen, an Iron Man of how many games? Did you get to 750 games, was it?
No, it was 737.
737. I knew it was close to that, but that's amazing. Just nonstop playing every game. Anything else you'd like to say to our young listeners out there, Jay? I really appreciate you coming on. Anything you'd like to say to the kids out here?
Well, number one, thanks for having me. I hope you got something from it. Yeah, you know what, I think minor hockey is supposed to be fun, and I think anybody, when you start playing hockey or work up through the levels, it's the number one thing when you look back is I just remember how much fun it was. And there's certain times you go through things and it seems difficult, or things might not be going your way, but the bottom line is it's supposed to be a game, and you're supposed to have fun. And that's the biggest key, I think, is the relationships you make with your teammates and coaches and things as you come up. They're some of the people that you'll be friends with the rest of your life. I mean, some of my best friends are guys I played hockey with and Pee Wee and Bantam and that sort of thing. So it's a great way to make relationships.
It really is. It's a great game, Jay, and you've always done it the right way, man. And congratulations on all your accomplishments and your Stanley Cup and all that stuff. You're a good buddy, and stay safe out there in St. Louis, and we'll be talking to you soon, buddy. Sounds good. I'll one of these days we're gonna take you up on your offer. We're gonna make it up to the Maritimes. So yes, you're always sooner rather than later. Yes, let's hope so, Jay, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks a lot. All right. Thanks, Trevor. Bye-bye.